The Boston Celtics remind the Chicago Bulls and their fan base exactly where the Chicago Bulls do sit in the rankings in the Eastern Conference with a big win on the Chicago Bulls home court. We're going to talk about all and more, but first, we got to play that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. And my Bulls fans out there that thought that the Chicago Bulls can be the fourth or fifth seed, that let a win against the Boston Celtics team that shot horribly get to their head. How you guys feeling right now? The Chicago Bulls get completely and utterly destroyed by 25 points on their home court. Jayson Tatum scores 43 points. Kristaps Porzingis scores 22 points. You got 19 points from Jaylen Brown. Their stars played like stars. No other players other than those three players scored in double digits for the Boston Celtics. Jayson Tatum goes into a zone in this game where it literally looked like Jayson Tatum could not miss anything. He could have been shooting with a bowling ball out there, and it probably still would have went in. Then you look at the fourth quarter in this game. 8 points from Kristaps Porzingis in the fourth quarter alone in this game. Jayson Tatum with 9 points in the fourth quarter alone in this game. It's just, listen, I get it that this Bulls team offensively can be special on some nights. But when you look at it against a team like a Boston Celtics team that is the upper echelon in the Eastern Conference, it should remind everybody exactly where this Bulls team really is. And I do think that some Bulls fans, I say some because not all, have gotten caught up in the Bulls winning against teams that are at the same level as what they are. And yes, the Bulls did beat the Boston Celtics last night, and they're going to be able to beat some teams that are better than them on some nights as well with the way that they play. But this game reminded of that extra gear that's needed. Now, I get it. The Bulls have been a much better road team than home team so far this season, and that's unfortunate, especially for the Chicago fans that show up to see this team play live. But yeah, it was ugly in this game. It was ugly in this game. No player scored 20 points in this game. Vooch leads the team in scoring with 19. Zach LaVine goes 4 of 11 for 14 points. Kobe White, 14 points, going 5 of 14 in this game as well. 7 points from Ayo Dosunmu. He did not have his magic he had in the second half of last game. Patrick Williams, 5 of 11 in this game for 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, only 1 turnover. I tell y'all what, Patrick Williams may have heard some of y'all. He's been a little bit more aggressive out there tonight. Miles Bucelis leads the Bulls with 9 points off the bench, going 4 of 10. But listen, all those stats matter not. When you look at the way that this Bulls team execute, there were times where the Bulls could get nothing that they wanted against this Boston Celtics team. Nothing. And we knew that this Celtics team was going to come in looking for blood against the Chicago Bulls team. We all knew it, right? I think any Bulls fan, if they're admitting it, they knew what was going to come about in this game. And Billy Donovan talked about it after the game. I'm a little bit late with the post-game show. Had to let this mud out here, right here, if y'all can see him. But in being able to watch it as I was walking the dog and watching Billy Donovan talk about this team in this post-game press conference, everything, like, I get it. Billy Donovan leaves a lot to be desired as a head coach. And in no way am I trying to say that Billy Donovan's some great basketball coach for the Bulls or anything like that, because he's not. And I don't really know many people who's going to make that conversation. But one thing I do think that Billy Donovan is that he is honest and very aware of the shortcomings of this Bulls team. All right. And he talked about how the Celtics put it in another gear that the Bulls just didn't have. Right. He's talked about defensively, how bad this team has been and how this team just does not have that defensive edge that some other teams have. People can, and this is why, for the crowd that looks at things and they say, oh, well, the Bulls don't need to make any trades. We need to just keep this team together. This is the level of team that you want to get to. And if you can say that regardless of anything else, if you think that encoding, and again, this is not to say that anything's 100%, right? But this team is just not at this caliber. When you look at the Cavs, when you look at the Knicks, when you look at the Celtics, the Bulls are just not in that caliber of team. They're just not. And they're not going to get there by keeping the team the same after you've seen this team over years just not have it. I'll say this Bulls team isn't at the level of a healthy Orlando Magic team. This Bulls ain't at the level of a Milwaukee Bucks team and how they're playing here recently. They're just not. And so when you're looking at that, yeah, you can make a play-in. Yeah, you can compete against other playing teams, but what are you really trying to get to? What are you trying to obtain? And this isn't, and again, no Bulls fan wants to see their team lose. But some of y'all are drinking the Jerry Reinsdorf Kool-Aid and you don't even realize it. In saying that you want to see this team stay together, you are falling into the exact trap that Jerry Reinsdorf laid out, and he said adamantly, the best thing to do is to sell fans hope. And y'all are falling for the hope. The hope that because you don't have the palate to see this team lose. You're falling for the hope of what this team that is in the middle of a pack can do. You're falling for the hope, right? And I understand why. This isn't one of those things where I'm trying to say you all are crazy, but I need people to realize what they are really falling for. When you say things like, oh, I don't want to see the team make any trades. I don't want to see them trade Vooch. I don't want to see them trade Zach LaVine. This team is good. You are falling for the you are drinking the Kool-Aid. You're falling into the cult of Reinsdorf. Do you want to be a Reinsdorfian? Is that what you want to do? Because you are literally falling into the trap by saying things like that. And it is what it is. Everybody has their own way of thinking what could fix this team and things like that. But this team is not of that upper echelon. This team is not a team that could be a fourth seed. This team is not a team that could be a fifth seed. This is not a team that when you put it up against those teams in the Eastern Conference in a 7-game series can make the necessary adjustments to be able to win that playoff series. So ask yourself, when you look at this team and you say things like, I don't want them to trade Zach. I don't want them to trade Vooch. We got good, shout out to, I forgot my boy's name who always leaves the voicemail. We got good players. Yeah, we do have good players. You're absolutely right. But good ain't good enough. And that's what this Bulls team continually shows us every single time. Right? And don't fall. And again, I'm out of it. I'm no longer falling for the bullshit. That's what this is. It's a mirage of bullshit. Every time you have to wink your eyes and look a little bit closer, think, maybe, you know what? I don't want to settle for maybes. We are too good of a fan base to settle for maybes, to sit there and say, oh, well, maybe this team. No, unless you are certain. Right? If we had a team that we could adamantly look at it and say, this is a team that can make it out the first round. This is a team that could push a team in the second round. If you think that, you don't know basketball. It isn't the team to do that. It's not even a team that's remotely close to being at that level to be able to compete. And I need my Bulls fans to wake up and stop falling for the mirages. Stop falling for the easy, palatable thing. I know some of y'all are stuck in bad relationships because you keep looking at it and saying, oh, well, you know what? They don't value me. But if they brought some milk home the other day. Did you see that? She got me a pack of draws. Yeah, because your ass been walking around here with fucking a hole in the crotch of your drawers for so long, that don't mean they're fucking taking care of you. That's what the Bulls is right now. The Bulls are the wholly worn out, crotchless pair of fucking draws. That's what the Bulls are right now. Because when you look at it from certain angles, it looks like it's a good pair of draws. When you put it on and you get to moving around and you're realizing your nuts chafing, then you're a Bulls fan. That's where this team is right now. And some of y'all, my lovely and beautiful Bulls fans that support this channel every single day, are willingly falling for the mirage. It just is what it is. We have to pick a path. And I tell you what, we are a lot closer to being a team that can keep the top 10 pick than are trying to hold things together and try to make it seem like we're a team that can actually make some noise or do anything in a postseason. It's been a fun ride. And I love the fact that the Bulls have pushed it to be this close to 500. And with all the limitations, with the injuries, adamant for this team. It's great to see. But we are far off from being any type of semblance of a competent basketball team that could really do anything to make some significant noise, even in a weaker Eastern Conference. We're just not there. And measuring stick games like this, that's what should remind you. Now, we got some games coming up against Milwaukee. We got Milwaukee, Atlanta, Milwaukee, right? And I think that the humbling is going to continue. We're in a great time of humbling. Watch what I tell you. I said this to you guys before in 2020-21 when Bulls fans were wrapped up in the fact that we were in a 6-game winning streak. I told you guys, hey, by the way that this Bulls teams keep playing basketball, we're not going to keep winning games. Everybody at that point in time thought Haize was crazy because Haize, why are you pointing out bad things while we're in a 6-game winning streak? Because sometimes you got to be able to zoom out and look at the reality of where a team is measured up at. And when you're looking at towards the top of that Eastern Conference, this team isn't even nearly sniffing the ass cheeks of the 5 teams that I've mentioned to you guys before. And honestly, when a Miami Heat team that's locked in, better than the Bulls. The Indiana Pacers team that was struggling at the beginning of the season and starting to turn things around, better than the Chicago Bulls. The Detroit Pistons that right now are right outside the play-in, I tell you what, they have a chance. I'm not saying outright. They could be better than the Bulls this year. What are we really fighting and competing for? That's what this Bulls team has to ask themselves, and that's what the job of AK is, to take an honest evaluation of where this team is. You can't give up an average of 121 points and to think that this team is close to anything good. You are closer to the toilet than you are to the sky. And that's where this team is right now. Bulls Troy in the building says, I told y'all Boston was coming for blood. We all knew it. I knew Boston would come in hot. Us Bulls fans were humbled too. Absolutely. As we should have been. And so much for Giddey not playing in Boston, the reason we won, what those people got to say. Well, listen, I've said this many times before. Anybody who tries to blame things on one player or even give praise just because of one player being in or out, you're not objectively looking at the team. You're just not objectively looking at the team. It's impossible to be. I understand that Patrick Williams has not been having the best season, but if you see that he is heating up, you don't just leave him out of the game until the 8-minute mark, until the fourth quarter. Billy Donovan's rotations. And you know, again, Billy Donovan, I'm sure he has his reasons as far as wanting to manage the minutes, things like that. But when it comes down to it, like Billy Donovan is one of the biggest reasons as well why Bulls fans need to look at this team and realize it ain't happening. It's not happening. It's not coming. Now, Patrick Williams had a really good statistical game. The Bulls were still -5 when he was on the court. We had a defensive rating of 123 when Patrick Williams was on the court. So, you know, maybe that I'm sure Billy Donovan would use that as part of the conversation and argument, but you know, it is what it is there. Billy Donovan needs to be honest and aware of his own shortcomings as a head coach. He is. He is. That doesn't mean he can magically change something if something's a shortcoming. Jack just isn't a Donovan Mitchell or Jimmy Butler. I mean, yeah, he's not a number one. And I don't mean that as a slight. Zach LaVine, I've said it before. If he's the number 2 on your team, you're rocking. If he's the number 3 on your team, the third best player, you're a championship contender. That's how good Zach LaVine is. If you can put Zach LaVine that he's your third best player, that's why the rumored Denver trade could be so good for him and for Denver, because they actually can make Zach LaVine their number 3. In that case, man, I'm not falling for the hope. For one thing, I do realize that this is that even if we do try to rebuild with Billy as our head coach, it's not going to help us. I mean, listen, the problem with that is that you want to give your roster opportunity to have the best talent, and unfortunately, you know, they're tied to this coach. Billy isn't going anywhere. I would love to be able to come to you guys and say, hey, Billy's not going anywhere. The best chance that we have to that Billy Donovan moves on is he moves into the front office. It's highly unlikely that Billy Donovan is going anywhere. This team is a horrible collection of talent. No, it's not a horrible collection of talent. You know, the talent doesn't always fit right together. And we're missing some very needed things if you really want to go to it. Haize, you said it last year's, yesterday's prices and today's prices, and tonight we were a perfect example of that. Man. The sooner we can make moves to get Zach, Vooch, and even Zoe out of here so we can put full focus on the long-term plan, the better. Hey, I would like Zach here in Denver, but I don't know what you guys want. Listen, Michael Porter Jr. in a protected first round pick could get it done. A highly likely to convey protected pick, basically meaning if you were to say, listen, for some reason we go left, top 5 protection on the pick, but that gets you a lot of the way there. Now the Bulls' reluctance to take Zeke Najee's contract is understandable, and if that keeps that deal from happening, that's crazy to me because you got to be willing to take on bad contracts if you want picks. The Kobe defensive play that led Jalen Smith being dunked on was absolute fucking bullshit, man. This situation isn't Kobe's fault. Loss isn't Kobe's fault, but definitely a major part of this. Oh, Kobe's a huge part of the struggle. Like I said, I'm not for blaming all things on one player, either good or bad, but players are parts of the cogs of the problem. And Kobe White is absolutely part of the problem. You could not, like, Kobe. Billy Donovan talked about it as well in this post-game show. He seems like he's very confident Kobe's eventually going to come out of this, and that's good. You want your coach to have faith in your players, but let's just put this in perspective today. Kobe White played 25 minutes and 24 seconds. In Kobe White's minutes today, the Bulls got outscored by 23 points. They had a negative net rating of negative 49.1. They have an offensive rating of 85, which is terrible, and a defensive rating of 134. Is that all on Kobe White? No, but you got to look at that, right? And Kobe continues to be a net negative for this Bulls team, and it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. You seeing that the Bulls are not interested in taking back Zeke Najee's from the Nuggets? Yeah, I have. And I tell you what, that is the most Bulls-like thing. And I get it. Maybe it's like, hey, maybe they're playing chicken. Maybe the Bulls are looking at the Nuggets and saying, no Zeke. No Zeke. The Nuggets are looking at them and saying, Zeke or don't take the deal, bitches. And AK's like, no Zeke until around January 28th. And then you got 10 days left on the before the trade deadline, and the Nuggets are like, Zeke, and AK's like, all right, we'll take Zeke. All right, like that Zeke's a bad contract. But you know, it is what it is. Up and down, ass team and fans, I'm done. No, you're not. You'll be back here, Delbert. Man, I hope Kobe comes out of this slump soon. He's playing much worse than it seems looking at points. Oh, it's much worse than points scored. It's much worse than points scored. Kobe is playing bad right now on both sides of the ball. Both sides. I would say this, even when Kobe was coming off the bench that first year after we got Lonzo and DeMar, where he shot the ball terribly, he was at least making defensive plays. Like Kobe White was growing as an off-ball defender, and his weak side defense took really big leaps that year. This year, it's really a struggle to see anything positive in Kobe's game. It really is a struggle, and it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. The Bulls have great individual talent, but an awful team cohesive unit. It's as simple as that. We will win an occasional game against teams we're expected to get whooped by and lose to bad teams. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the reality has to be accepted and embraced. If Zach and Vooch get dropped for the sake of dropping them and get a bag of chips in return, shit, at least I know which lane I'm heading to. Completely agree, right? Now, what's rumored is that the Bulls aren't necessarily walking away with a bag of chips, which is a plus, right? But you got to realize, like, and again, this is all a failure due to this front office. Your players have no trade value because of the way that you've managed this team. Like, that's it. That's just it. Io needs to stay in the starting lineup when Giddey's back, but Donovan doesn't have the ball. He doesn't. Billy Donovan doesn't have the balls for that. Now everyone understanding y'all get just yesterday, people were saying Zach is the second coming of Jordan. Listen, yeah. Another thing that pissed me off about Billy Donovan tonight was that when he saw that we made a little bit of a comeback and we were down by 5 and still left THC's bad hairline having ass out there. Man, hey, listen, all I can say is this, is that Billy Donovan, for somebody who talks about, you know, the integrity of the game, wanting to coach for wins, all this type of thing, one of the things that Billy Donovan is horrible at is situational awareness. Him and Matt Eberflus are right up there neck and neck. He does not have the situational awareness that you look at as far as the ebbs and flows of lineups. Billy Donovan, he's been better at it at times today. I'll get that, right? He's been better at it than times, better this season than what he's had been in the past at times in certain games. But it seems like to me, Billy Donovan's a guy that when the Bulls are playing with the momentum, for some reason, then he can manage lineups pretty well. There's still some questionable things, but when the Bulls are playing from behind and you look at a coach to kind of make and create some different wrinkles for your team, he's not that coach to do. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. And it keeps being evident and more evident as the time goes on that Billy just doesn't know how to manage those situations really well at all. My personal opinion. I think the Bears even have a better future than the Bulls. Yes, the Bears do have a more brighter future than the Bulls. Because again, the Bears have a lot of young talent at a lot of key positions. They need a coach to bring it all together. They need to shore up that offensive line, but they have a lot of young talent at key positions. Whereas the Bulls, we have young talent, but can we say it's really key positions yet? Like Modest isn't in a key position yet. He's still finding his way in the NBA, and that's fine, right? Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry, these guys have got kind of starting to find their niche in the NBA. But you can't say in reality yet we've seen these guys like play a type of role where you're like, that's what they're going to do on a great team. We don't know that yet, right? And then Kobe's in his slump. Io in a game like today where we really needed Io to stand up, he took 7 shots. Now, he was guarding pretty well out there defensively. But, just we're missing a lot. We're missing a lot. Honestly, yeah, Zeke is a bad of chips, a bad bag of chips. But man, we are horrible at coaching center. Sadly, listen, I think we've had some good center play. I mean, Vooch is playing all-star level. Jalen Smith played good. Andre Drummond was really good when he was a backup center here. Got some. We now we don't always use them correctly. Maybe that's what you mean. But yeah, that's just a Billy Donovan limitation. Chicago sports is just out here embarrassing us in front of Simone Biles and Megan Thee Stallion. That is crazy. Haize, I know I may be reaching a little bit, but White's defensive struggles this season showed how really important AC was when he was playing with them because he helped see Kobe White out a lot. Listen, I'll say this: Kobe White was way better defensively last year. Actually, the last 2 years than what he is right now. I have no idea what's going on with Kobe White because it's like he's regressed, and I don't know if it's just a confidence thing, but Kobe got to get his shit together because I tell you what, Kobe keeps playing like this. It's going to be hard to defend Kobe White. It's already hard to defend Kobe White if we're being honest, right? And Kobe got to take the bull by the horn, so to say, and he got to get his life together. Because right now, Kobe White is playing like a pack of ass. That's what Kobe White's playing like right now. And it's ugly. When Chicago sports hit, they win multiple championships in 1 decade. When Chicago sports miss, they miss. But hey, listen, the problem is that that Chicago teams have this hyper period of competitiveness, right? Where we'll be one of the better teams in whatever respective league for like 5-year stretch. But in between those stretches, it's god awful. It's god awful. So, hey, this is why me, a moment guy, wasn't even caught up in the moment of beating the Celtics. I was like, okay, let's still stay the course. We need to burn this shit down and build it back up. Yeah, but some Bull, like I said, the Bulls fans that have really convinced themselves that this team needs to hold on to all these guys, or oh my God, it's like you're falling for the Jerry Reinsdorf trap. That's exactly where Jerry Reinsdorf wants people to be at. Exactly where he wants people to be at. I do like P. Will is becoming more aggressive. Yes, listen, shout out P. Will, and I was hoping that it was going to be contagious for P. Will and him being out and seeing how this team and some of the young guys that are playing your position have come in with some viciousness. And P. Will has played with some really good some energy here. Not exactly newsworth, but Spicy Denzel got recalled from Windy City. I mean, listen, I don't care about Spicy Denzel Valentine. Chris Duarte, doesn't matter. He's not going to play. Shout out to him putting up he put up 34 points, I think, in the G League. Shout out to Chris Duarte for doing that. You're a 4-year NBA vet who was second team all rookie, I think, or was it third team. You should be able to go down to the G League and dominate that level of competition. Now find your way to the NBA and actually be a productive NBA player. Let's do that. The front office actively made the team worse by trading Caruso. That's to tell us what direction they're leaning towards. You're smart. You're smart. That's all I can say. You're very, very intelligent. Not exactly newsworthy, but I already read that one. I think Philly is going to be ninth place and the Bulls are going to be 10th place. My prediction this year. Listen, I'll tell you what, if Philly does start winning more games, yeah, they're definitely going to pass up the Bulls. But the team I'm looking at is that Detroit Pistons team. That Detroit Pistons team, I'm telling y'all, they're going for it. I don't think they own their own first round pick, so they have no benefit to tank either. I'll double check that. But if they don't own their own first round pick, also watch out for that Detroit Pistons team. There's been some rumors of them making a trade to kind of add something to that team. If they do, that Detroit Pistons teams can pass the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, so their pick is top 13 protected. So if it stays in the top 13, they get it. If it's anywhere 14 to 30, it goes to Minnesota. So the Detroit Pistons could have some reason to take. And maybe they're much like in the same position of the Bulls, right? They actually have a bigger gap because they're 1 to 13. So yeah, we'll see what the Pistons do. But that Pistons team is also a team to definitely look out for, because that if they decide, oh no, we're going for this in the playoffs this year, we're going to make a move to try to strengthen that. Just watch it. That's all I'm going to say. Just watch it, because that Pistons teams can pass the Chicago Bulls up as well. I mean, they are about to win right now against the Suns. If the Bulls do a rebuild, they aren't going to be winning still, I don't think. Well, that's the thing, though. I don't think. Here's the thing. I don't think that even if the Bulls trade Zach, they trade Vooch, if they get a top 10 pick and they hit, right? I know that's a big if. If they hit on the top 10 pick, and I don't mean that pick even has to turn into a star. If they hit on it and they get the player that can be productive, this team could be right back where they are now, competing for a play-in a year. They can. And so because of that, you also got to look at the chance there. So Pistons close to beating the Suns. There's a few teams below us who should finish above. It will be a nervy last stretch. That must be some Australian slang. I don't know. Haize, besides my comparisons that you don't like, what do you say that I fall in the category of delusional Bulls fans that don't see the problem is or not? I don't know. I don't think that you're delusional at all. They say players never tank, but if we're playing for absolutely nothing with 10 to 15 games to go, we may see them ease up a lot. And I don't even know if it's necessarily like, I mean, it's amazing how when you aren't fighting for anything anymore, somehow magically, like, players start getting hurt, players start sitting out 2 to 3 games, players start, those type of things start happening. It's just always amazing. Those things are always there, right? Nervy means nervous, just short. Oh, okay, gotcha. Nah, Shay, you aren't delusional. Shay's delusional just for different reasons. We're not because of his view on the Bulls. He's delusional for some other reasons, that's for sure. Shout out to Shay. But yeah, man, this is just a reminder of where the Bulls are. And sometimes you need a reminder of where you really sit at. And like I said, the Bulls are not where some Bulls fans try to make the conversation for us being. We're just not. We're not at that level. We're not near that at all. And until they realize that, and the front office makes a decision, it's going to keep being, this thing where we just keep spinning our wheels. Kobe got to get his confidence back. This is a rough stretch again. It's terrible. This is a terrible stretch of games. It's real bad for Kobe White. And I want Kobe to be better, of course. Like, y'all know I love Kobe White. I love to see the run that he was on last season. But Kobe got to get it together, man. Got to get it together. Last 10 games for Kobe White, he's shooting the ball 36% from the field, 31% from three-point range, averaging 14.7 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists per game, a 49% true shooting percentage. That's just not good. He has to get it together. The problem, I think, is Kobe is still pressing still. Yeah, he absolutely is. And you can tell it. Like, Kobe is in that place now where he's like, I just got to get this game. I got to get a big game in. And because of that, he's not really playing free. He's not really thinking. He's just out there playing, and it's not looking good. Give Modest minutes. I think he's going to be special. Modest. I think at this point, Modest is in the rotation, and I don't think he's going to fall completely out. Now, he's going to have some games where maybe instead of playing 20 minutes, he plays 13 to 15, just depending on who else is hot off that bench, and if he's not. But Modest is in the rotation now, and I don't think that's really going to change for him at all. I really hope we do not get on a 6-game winning streak in the month of January. I mean, listen, stuff's possible. In a meaningful part of the game, Zach 4 for 4 from 3, 0 for 6 from within. Great deep shot, but 0-6 was brutal. Yeah. This was just a bad loss, but I'm still somewhat hopeful for this season. Hey, hold out hope. Keep hope alive. Monis is young. He has a long way to go. Still makes a lot of mistakes, but his potential is uncapped. He looks very promising. Yeah, absolutely. Vaughn says, what's up, Haize? I was doing my Hoops Legion pod. What did I miss in this game? A bunch of shit, bro. Like, Bulls got cooked, bro. They got cooked. Kobe White needs to just to attack the basket a little bit more. That's why he's not being effective like he was last season. Yeah, mid-range and attacking the rim. That's really what you want from Kobe. Really, that's what you really want from Kobe. But all right, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. We're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. This will be my last live stream I'll be on before Christmas. So to you, Haize, your family, and all the Bulls Nation, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too as well. Troy, you and your family out there. But that's my time. Make sure you guys are following the channel at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'll catch you guys on the mailbag episode. Like I like to end everything. Go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.